Hiya VC, I'm back again. It's been a little while. It's been, I think maybe 3 weeks since I did the last video. Um, I've nearly caught up with all of my purchases from a while back. I haven't been buying a lot. Well, I haven't bought very much at all recently. A couple of bits and pieces. I just haven't seen much that I wanted. But I thought I'd just get this video done, because I've had these records, I think it's nearly 2 months now since I actually bought them, which is pretty slack really. I haven't been very active on the VC for the last little while, but amazingly I'm still picking up subscribers, so thank you so much for those people who have decided that despite my lack of videos recently, it's been worth subscribing. So cheers for that. I'm not sure who you are, I haven't checked, but thank you so much. So let's get on with it. So this is a haul of records that I got, and it is a pretty big haul of records that I got from Exeter Record and CD Fair. This was held at the beginning of May. We're now in the beginning of July. Actually, it's next on tomorrow, but I'm not sure if I can make it tomorrow. But what I did first, before I actually went into the fair, I stopped by my favourite charity store in Exeter, and I managed to pick up some great records there before I even went in. So, first off, I saw this. Now this is Clarence Frogman Henry. Is alive and well and living in New Orleans and still doing his thing. This is Clarence Frogman Henry. I think he had some hits or something in the 1950s. I can't remember the name of the big hit he had, but he did have some hits. But this was recorded in 1970 on the Pi label. I think it actually originally on Roulette Records in the States. And this is cracking. It's kind of like it's an R&B album. Really good stuff. I've really enjoyed listening to this. I played this quite a few times. He does a lot of covers. I mean, he does Blueberry Hill. He does Send Me Some Lovin', Let the Good Times Roll. What else? Little Green Frog, which I think might have been one of his hits that he did. Red Sails in the Sunset. But it's really good. That kind of 60s, it's got that 60s New Orleans R&B sound. Terrific album. Really loved listening to this. Cost £1. Yes, I love my bargains. Also in the charity shop I saw this, which is a really good copy of this. It's Nils Lofgren, I Came to Dance. I think this was the second solo album he released. Official release. I think he released a live album first, then he released a couple of albums. This is the second one. This is okay. I've got to say this is okay. On A&M, it's just a bog standard A&M label. There's some good stuff on it. But it's kind of confirmed Nils Lofgren. I always thought he was kind of a middling kind of artist. I mean, there's enough on here. There's enough to keep me interested and play it again. Especially things, he did a really good cover of Happy by the Stones on it. Things like I Came to Dance, was that a good one? That was okay. Home Is Where the Hurt Is. Code of the Road, that's a good track. So there's enough to make me want to come back and revisit this. But it's not one of the best albums I've ever got. But then, to be honest, when I pay £1 for an album, if you've got one good song on it, worth it. Okay, this next one is a really good album. From like Nils Lofgren, sort of in the Springsteen sphere, this is Southside Johnny and the Dukes. and At Least We Got Shoes. This is a great rock and roll record. I wasn't sure when I picked this up what it would be like, because I have heard some other later Duke stuff, and let's say the production kind of overawed the performance, and it was kind of too well produced, and it just wasn't good. But this is rocking. This is really rocking. Really like this album. It's that kind of mid-80s roots rock that a lot of artists around Springsteen was kind of doing. I really rate this, actually. I really enjoyed listening to this. On the RCA label. Hold on. There you go, box standard black RCA. I think this is a British pressing. I think it's a British pressing. Can't see. But it's great. If you see this one, pick it up, because it's a good album. And then I absolutely loved this. Picked up a copy of Aha Scoundrel Days, which has got my favourite Aha song on it, I've Been Losing You. Nice hype sticker there. It's a little bit dirty, but the record itself is in really good shape. Nice inner sleeve there. But there's some really good songs on here. It's quite synth pop. I mean, people don't. I don't know. Do people rate Aha or not? I'm never quite sure. They're kind of always on the cusp, on the fringe of critical acclaim, but especially the later stuff. But I don't see it so much with their early stuff. But it's really top-notch pop. Really top-notch. I mean, you've got things on here like Manhattan Skyline. What a brilliant single that was. Cry Wolf. I've Been Losing You, which is a brilliant song. Absolutely love that. And then you've got things like Soft Rains of April, which is a really good track. In fact, there's only one real duffer on here, and that's a song called Maybe Maybe, which is kind of... It's just too lightweight. The rest of the album is a lot more... There's a lot more weight and heft to it. And I'd put this on a par with some of the best Pet Shop Boys stuff. It's in that kind of league. I really rate this album. Really enjoyed listening to it. Really good. So, Aha, Scoundrel Days. Right, so they're the four that I got from the charity shop before I went in. Then, just outside where the fair was held, there was a stall somebody set up just outside, and didn't actually have to pay to buy off this stall. I mean, I went into the fair anyway, but paid all of £1 to get in. But these next three I bought off the stall just outside, and this was, how much were these? These were a £5 for these three. Which one should I start with? Let's start with that one. So I got a Cars album, Panorama. Or Panorama. Really good. This is really new wavy. Just such a new wave album. But apart from one really awful track called Touch and Go, which I really don't rate. I think it's absolute ploddy. It's just ploddy. I hate ploddy music. But the rest of it is really good. Lots of sort of more spiky guitars. They've definitely taken on that new wave sound. Comes complete with the original inner on Elektra. And I'm pretty sure this is a US pressing. Well, it must be, because it's got the price sticker still on it, is in dollars. So I don't know how this ended up over here, but there we go. Really good album, Panorama by the Cars. I finally got the first three albums by this band as well. Boston. This is Third Stage. Pretty nice condition, this. Really nice condition. Not as good as their first two. Nowhere near as good. But there's still some good stuff on it. I like stuff like Cool the Engines and their suite of songs that the launch. Some of it's a bit saccharine. Amanda I'm not that keen on, which was a massive song for them, but I'm not that keen on it. And it's nowhere near as good as the first two, but I'm really glad I've got this in really good nick as well. There we go. And this one it's a deletion. It's cut off, but I'm really glad I got this because I've seen this loads on the VC. I think a lot of people have shown this over, and it's Crack the Sky, which is it's a kind of hard rock prog mix with some Christian elements to it, which really doesn't affect it. It's a really good album. I've got to play this more actually. But for just over £1, I think £1.30, I'm so pleased I've got a copy of this because I was really intrigued when I heard it, when I heard people talking about it on Life Song Records. That's that. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty hard rock. I can't get the record back in, showing my legendary lack of reinsertion skills of records. Yeah, pretty hard, quite a bit proggy, but love it. Love that I've got a copy of that. Right, and then I was just wandering around in the fair. I saw a couple of things I might have bought. Maybe some early U2 stuff. There was a couple of other bits, but I thought, didn't really see anything I really fancied. And then I saw one stall in the corner, and it looked like just lots of boxes of records, and it looked more like my sort of thing, where it's like you could find anything. And I ended up chatting to the guy who was running it, and it was for a local charity shop, which is quite famous in Exeter as being one of the better charity shops. But the vinyl is obviously all siphoned off and lugged around various record fairs where they flog it off, obviously to make more money. And I got there, and I know it was a charity, and I do feel slightly guilty about this, but I pulled out a couple of records that I was going to buy, definitely. I pulled out some of this lot. And then the guy turned around, and I was chatting to this guy, and then the guy turned around and said, right, everything £1. I thought, what? And he said, well, it's a few less records to get rid of, to lug home if we sell them off now. And I thought, right, well, if you're going to do it, I'm going to buy them. And I've got some really good records here, really good stuff, including some upgrades, some badly needed upgrades actually, because the other copies I had of some of the albums were pretty dire. So we start off, The Tourists. Now this one is Reality Effect. Tourists were of course the band that featured Annie Lennox and Dave Stewart before they left to form the Eurythmics. There's Annie. And there's Dave. Now I really loved the Eurythmics in the 80s. In fact, I'm planning a video on them with their first 7 albums. I think it's the first 7, maybe 6, 7 albums. And I thought I'd do a video on them. But this is really good. It's really, really, it's kind of like that 60s kind. It got a bit of a 60s feel to it, but definitely through the prism of the 1980s and the new wave. Some cracking tracks on here. It opens up with It Doesn't Have to Be This Way, which is cracking. It's got their cover of I Only Want to Be With You, which is a British top 5 hit. What else is on here? In the Morning, All Life's Tragedies. So Good to Be Back Home Again, which I think was another British top 10 hit. That's good. Summer Night, Circular Fever. It's really good, really guitar-y. There's a bit of synth on there, but it's a really good record. And I'm definitely going to have to look out for the other Tourists albums, because I really love this. On Logo Records. Sleeve's not in fantastic shape, but the record itself is in really nice shape. There you go, there's the label. Really nice shape, really pleased I got that. Because I've only actually, I think maybe I've got the 7-inch of I Only Want to Be With You. That's the only Tourist stuff I had, I think. So there's that. I also picked up another new wave album, a and this is a cracking record. Psychedelic Furs, Talk, Talk, Talk. I was watching Vinyl Richie's video where he basically discussed the contents of one of his cubes on his newly built IKEA thingy or wherever he got it from. And he pulled this out and said it was probably their best album. And of the ones I've heard, I'd have to agree, this is a great, great album. Dumb Waiters, cracking track. Pretty in Pink, the original version of Pretty in Pink. All of This and Nothing. Mr. Jones. It's got really, really, it's got that brilliant new wave sound, but it is a really top-notch album. Really top-notch. On CBS. There we go. Psychedelic Furs, Talk, Talk, Talk. Right, I've talked about this lot before on one of my videos. A couple of my videos, especially my Gimme 10s from the 1980s, I think. Or did I? I must have done. Balam. I think it's Balam. And The Angel. This is an album called Sun Family. Balam and The Angel was sort of a goth... I mean, were a goth affiliated band. I remember a lot of people who were goths had their records. They were never one of the big players, but they were kind of there or thereabouts. And this is a compilation of tracks from their first 3 singles that they released for Chapter 22, which I think was the ultimate goth label, apart from Merciful Relief, which is the sister's label. I think a lot of bands released on Chapter 22, which was, I think, a subsidiary of Beggars Banquet, which was the Cult's home. This is really gothy, actually. A lot of these tracks are really gothy. They've got the bass lines, the heavy bass lines, the kind of scratchy Bauhausy guitar on some of it. I mean, it's got some nice touches. It's got some other instruments that are used to bring in a bit of a variety to the album, to the songs. But it's really good. Really takes me back to a time when I listened to quite a lot of this sort of stuff. But I never actually had any of their early stuff. I only had their more poppy later stuff, and then their more when they followed the Cult into hard rock. So there we go. Finally got a copy of that. Been after that for years. Right. The next 3 are all from the same band, but 2 of the next 3 are upgrades, and they're real upgrades. Really, really good. So I've talked about these before. So the first one is Moody Blues, Days of Future Past. This gets better with every time I listen to it, to be honest. I've now listened to it, at least probably 8-9 times now. And I'm finding more and more in it now. I was put off by the orchestral bits, funnily enough, to begin with, because it sounded a bit, I don't know, Mantovani-esque almost. But it does flow. The ebb and flow of the orchestra with the band, and some of the band songs are great anyway. So there's that one. I also picked up, now this I didn't have before, and I really like this, and it's quite a nice copy of this. Record's in top-notch shape. It is On the Threshold of a Dream by the Moodies. Another one of their concepts. I don't know if they hold up, but I just think the music is really good. And it's got the original booklet in here as well. The lyric book, which is quite nice to have. In really good shape. So there's that. On DRAM Records, before they formed their label, based on the name of this album, Threshold. Okay, really, really excellent album that is. And I also got an upgrade of this one, and these are all £1, so I was going to definitely upgrade. This is a really nice copy of this, To Our Children's Children's Children. Another one about sort of passage of time and eternity. Some great songs on here. Eyes of a Child, Higher and Higher. The opener is a brilliant song. Absolutely love that. Quite heavy for them. Eternity Road. Just some really lovely stuff. And I think it's a great cover. I just love the cover. There we go. So yeah, So, 3 Moody Blues albums. Nearly at the end. 20 minutes in. Just a couple left to go. And 2 corkers, to be honest. 2 absolute corkers. Right, I also managed to pick up a copy of... oh, is this Stranded? Yeah, it's Stranded, isn't it? The 3rd Roxy Music album. Slowly getting all my Roxy albums together. I think I've got them all on either CD or vinyl, so it's slowly just getting the last few on vinyl now. Last couple. 2? Maybe 2. This has got Street Life on it, opens up with Street Life. Song for Europe is fantastic on here, Mother of Pearl. This was the first album they released after Eno left, but to be honest, For Your Pleasure is a magnificent album, which I do have on vinyl. I've never really listened to their debut, funnily enough, that much. I've got it on CD, and I really should whack it in the car so I have a really good listen. But this is a great album. Cover's a bit beat up, especially along the spine, but the record itself is in fantastic shape. There's the inside. And it's an American pressing, this one. It's not on Ireland, it's on Atco. Actually picked up quite a few American pressings on here. Always happy to pick up Roxy stuff. I'll pop that back in a minute. And then finally, to round off, I think a couple of months ago I bought the Jerry Rafferty album called, the one with Baker Street on it. And I'd actually listened to this album before I heard that album. I picked up a copy of Night Owl. This is tremendous stuff on here. Now there was a thread going around a while back, a few months back, must have been a few months back, about driving music, and I wouldn't have been able to do a response to that because I listen to all sorts of stuff. I don't have things that I whack on specifically for driving. I would listen to anything apart from Radiohead. Radiohead in the car is a no-no. It's awful. Unless it's the Benz, possibly. I don't know. But this is driving music for me. I would just whack this on and just motor away, especially night time. I think this would work so well at night. Things like Days Gone Down, The Night Owl, Get It Right Next Time, Take the Money and Run. The way that you do it, Tourist, it's going to be a long night. It is that kind of, I suppose it would be classified as soft rock, kind of. But phenomenal stuff. Absolutely love this. Really, really good album, and I think you can pick out. I think this isn't there's the man himself, the man responsible for Stuck in the Middle with You. I mean, just for that, he's a genius. But I think you can pick this up all over the place, and if anybody sees this, I would pick it up because it is a really good album. Really good. In fact, I might just stick it on right now. Right, there we go. I'm back, VC. I don't know how much more. I'm going to do a video, as I said, on Eurythmics. I'm going to do another 12 by 12 because I love doing those. It really is making me revisit my 12-inch collection. And I might actually do something on singles as well, because I've got boxes up here. Boxes of 7 inches, and I'm sure I could do something with them. And also, in the last 3 weeks, I finally put all of my 3,000 odd CDs in alphabetical order, so I can actually find stuff. They're all in boxes, but I can actually find stuff. So you never know. To the despair of the VC in general, I'm sure I might even do some CD videos, maybe genre stuff. I'll have a think about that and what I'm going to do. I won't call them vinyl community videos. I'll just put them out there, and if you want to watch them, you can. But I'll try. I might stick to the more obscure stuff, or I might. Oh, who knows? I'll sort something out. Right. So that's it. Thanks for rejoining me, VC. I've had a blast listening to these over the last couple of months. I finally got it together to listen to all of them. Some of them I've been listening more than once. and I've been since I was reorganising my CDs. I was listening to a lot of stuff that I found in there that I'd kind of, well, not forgotten about, but just reminded of stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye, VC.